and welcome back. My name is Samantha Cabala. I'm the registered dietitian over at the West Michigan Cancer Center. And this month we are back with our SurvivorWise soup series, and we're here with Mr. Jared Adams. He is our Director of Facilities and Operations at the West Michigan Cancer Center. We are going to be making a venison chili today, and we have Jared with us today because I understand you hunt outside of work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're using your venison.
We are. This was a deer that I harvested about a month ago, actually, with my bow.
All right. Well, that is exciting. So we have onions and green bell peppers simmering behind us already. We're
getting hot.
Yes, getting going.
Yep.
So we're going to go ahead and we are going to add, we have a lot of spices in this recipe.
Oh, what do you have in there, Samantha?
Okay. We have a ton of chili powder, like a quarter cup of chili powder. We've got coriander, we've got some cumin, we have cayenne pepper, some thyme, and some oregano. I will be honest, I made this recipe this weekend just to try it out, and it also will call for a bay leaf or two, and I forgot the bay leaf this weekend.
That's fine, because I don't really care for bay leaf.
I just don't really think it does a whole lot.
You have to remember to take it out because somebody's going to get a surprise.
Someone will get a leaf in their mouth. Exactly. Yeah. So we've got all these onions and these green peppers in here. We are going to go ahead and add our venison. So if you would do the honors.
Sure. Now, venison looks really bloody and dark, but it's not. I mean, it's just super, it's the most organic. Some people call it high-speed beef.
High speed?
That's true.
Why high speed?
Because it's like the leanest red meat that you can actually get.
It is extremely lean. I was cooking, like I said, I was doing the recipe this weekend, and one of my least favorite parts about cooking beef is you kind of have to do that awkward, like strain out all the grease in the pan.
I put a piece of paper towel down on a plate, and I transfer the meat on there.
And it's kind of soaks
it all up, and then I move the meat back to the pan.
Okay, I do that. So I do that with my sausage.
Yeah.
Because it seems like there's even more with sausage. But this, when I was making it this weekend, no grease. Like, there's nothing to strain. There's literally nothing. So that was a very pleasant surprise. All right, so we are just kind of waiting for this venison. We want to make sure that we don't have any remaining pink parts.
Yeah.
And now I honestly don't have very much experience with venison. That's why I wanted you to join us today. What do you, at your house, what do you typically do with venison? Do you do chili? Do you do steak?
It all depends. So like, for example, this deer I took to Chester's here in Kalamazoo to get processed. They're outstanding. They do a super great job and clean. And so what I chose was a roast cut butchering.
Okay.
Which basically allows you to have the big primal meat still left over. And it minimizes how much is ground. So this was 2 pounds of ground venison. We actually like to use the whole roast and the steak and the backstrap pieces more because I think you can do a lot more versatility with them. But it takes a little bit of effort and planning. Whereas a lot of people like a lot of the ground meat. They can do burgers, they can do chilies, they can, put it in spaghetti or whatever it may be.
Okay.
With that said, you still end up getting, even in the processing package I picked, I still ended up with like 19 packs of ground meat.
Oh my gosh.
So that works out really well. But no, we'll do a lot of things. We'll do some roasts with it. We'll do burgers, we'll do chilies. I'm looking forward to doing some jerky with some of the other roast meat as well. But I tell you what, the back straps, cutting those into steaks, there's nothing better than that.
That's how you like it, huh?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna have you add some of the minced garlic before I add this in. We're gonna it calls for about 5 cloves of garlic. All right, there we go, wonderful. And then we're gonna add the tomato puree. Chili's fun, I feel like too, because everyone kind of has a different chili recipe. I have a friend that puts a small amount of chocolate chips in his chili.
Oh, wow. Dark chocolate or milk?
I think dark. You would never know they're in there, but it is very, very good chili.
It'll kind of give it like almost like a velvety kind of texture.
Yeah, I do. What about you? Do you have kind of a fun, quirky ingredient in your chili?
Yeah, when you invited me to a great opportunity, you didn't ask for my chili recipe.
No, I didn't. And I'm sorry.
It's okay, because I don't really have one written. Chili for me is kind of like, all right, what do you got?
What's in the house?
What's in the house, and that's what I love about chili, and that's what I love about soup and this whole soup series itself, is that there's like all the pressure's removed.
Soup is a fun one.
You know
it's
what I mean?
easy, yeah.
Because again, a lot of times when you're doing other meals and other things, there's so much prep. There's the timing of like the protein and the starch and the veggie. Soups and chilies doesn't even matter. You can just put it all in a pot. It can sit there and simmer for hours, and then people can show up. It's wonderful. But for me, I add some weird things to my chili. Like I might add a stout beer. Right, as a base, or I might add a cup of really strong coffee from that morning prior and add that to it. And I feel like those things just kind of give it another smokiness to it.
Okay.
And I simmer and I'll run my chili for several hours, and so you really need that extra moisture or extra liquid,
so it doesn't dry
so it just
out.
doesn't turn to like this paste.
Right.
And so that's sometimes what that stout or that coffee might simulate.
Okay. I'm gonna quickly add the diced tomatoes here. We got 2 cans of those. We're also gonna do the bay leaf. So this is gonna.
That's on you. That's on you.
This is on us. If you want to go ahead and pull
Sure.
one or even 2 of those out there. Again, bay leaves are one of those things. A lot of times, like a chicken noodle soup recipe will call for bay leaves.
And it's big in seafood type stuff. They
Yes.
put that in kind
Yes.
of seafood.
So you throw it in there. It's a full-size leaf, so you want to make sure that you pull it out before you serve it in a bowl. 2 cans of kidney beans, and we got the reduced sodium, and then we also threw them in a colander, ran them under some water to rinse off that sodium.
Sure.
So that is kind of what we've got going on now. So we got all of our ingredients here going, and now it's just a matter of
It's smelling wonderful. I'm sure you
Good.
can't smell it. But it is doing well.
It's doing what we want it to do. Wonderful. Now, you have kids at home.
I do. Yeah.
Now, do they like venison?
They do. I will say that it might be in there later. So for example, the other week, my wife made a really good lasagna, which actually had ground venison in it. And they loved it, and they ate it all up. But we didn't tell them that
Not
it was venison.
knowing.
Yeah, we didn't tell
Okay.
them it was venison in there. But then the same week, we had some venison steaks, and my son was eating it up. So it's not that they won't eat it, but sometimes with young kids, you gotta just, only tell them what they need to know, I guess you'd say.
So we are gonna kind of wait for it to simmer, like you said. We're gonna do a test taste. We have some cheese to garnish. I know a lot of people like to garnish with sour cream, scallions, tortilla strips. There's lots of fun things you can
What do you
garnish.
like to put in your chili?
Put in my chili or put
On
my
it, as
chili?
your.
I am like an all of the things girl. So I like my sour cream and cheese and scallions.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else there is out there.
Yeah.
Tortilla strips.
What about goldfish? You ever have goldfish swim in your chili?
No,
That's kind of fun.
But I kind of could see it.
Yeah.
Like you get the cheesiness that you would get with cheese. Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
always have goldfish at home.
Well, you have kids,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I know that's not like a typical grocery item for me. So we're gonna taste it. We have some bread as well. We're back at the hospitality house, so we're gonna leave our what we end up with here. We're gonna leave that for them.
Sure.
But I do want to ask. We've been asking our guests the same 3 questions at the end of every segment.
Yeah.
What is your all-time favorite food? If you were if you're stranded on an island, you could live on it for the rest of your life.
Listen, I work out to eat more. I mean, to be honest.
Fair
I got a lot of favorite foods. That's really hard.
I
So
know.
can you narrow it down? Like, is it a sweet food? Is it a food group? Or is it just an item?
Well, let me see.
Because like, if overall food group be like ice cream #1, which
Ice
obviously
cream.
isn't good, and probably as a dietitian, you probably would not advise that.
No. Well, I mean, I love ice cream.
Okay.
I'm not exactly I'm one of those do more as I say, not as I do dietitians.
Oh, perfect.
Ice cream. Okay, so that's fine. I'll take that as an answer. But I'm gonna.
But if there was if there was an actual food substance group, then I would say Mexican.
Mexican
would be.
I am with you with Mexican.
Okay.
All right. So tacos,
Tacos are
ice
good.
cream.
Yeah.
Sounds like my diet. That sounds great.
Yeah, sounds really good, doesn't it? Yeah.
Now, what was the last thing you ate today?
Today I was rushing over here on another meeting, which you saw at the same time.
I did.
And so I had a protein shake.
Okay. A lot of our patients drink protein drinks.
Yeah, no, they're good.
So there's a lot of them out there now.
Yeah.
And then my last question for you, what's your least favorite food? Wouldn't cook it, wouldn't order it at a restaurant?
Oh, I don't know about casseroles. So specifically like a baked tetrazzini or something like that. I know a lot of families do that and a lot of things. even though I like chili, which I know is inconsistent, but I feel like sometimes a casserole, it's like we just throw all this stuff in a pan and meld it all together, and I feel like some of those flavors don't get to stand out on their own. So,
which is so funny, because that's exactly how you just
exactly
described
chili,
soup.
right.
Like, you just throw it all in there.
But at least still some of that flavor can come through.
Forward.
I feel like in this chicken or turkey tetrazzini, it's just like this weird, mushy, it's like goulash almost. Like, and I just can't, I don't know. I like, if it was still socially appropriate that I could have a divider plate, you know, that my peas stayed in this triangle and my mashed potatoes stayed over here, that's probably what I would gravitate towards.
Okay.
Because
All right.
I like all the things, but I like them to be kind of alone.
So you're never taking like the fork of the mashed potatoes
No,
and then the
no.
bite of the meatloaf at the same
No,
time?
no,
Okay.
no.
Okay. Well, the more you know. Wonderful. Well, thank you for joining us. And again, thanks to the beautiful Hospitality House for the hospitality. All right, so we have our soup. It's finally ready. We are gonna get these fun red bowls. Sure. Now, I have to ask you, because like I said, I'm not a big venison person. I didn't grow up with like a hunter in my family. I feel like it kind of is, it's got that reputation of being kind of gamey.
Okay.
And I read that if you marinate it, and obviously like ground venison, that's not necessarily an option, but like, what's your experience with people complaining that it's too gamey?
Yeah, so a lot of that I think can be handled with how the meat is processed, right? And how quick you can cool it down. So the other thing is when you're processing your deer, you want to get as much of the tallow out of there. Now tallow is those white kind of interstitial ligaments and part of their fat membrane. And then like anytime, you ever seen like a pork loin?
Yes.
Okay, and so
yes.
a pork loin has that thing called a silver skin around that loin. And you're always supposed to take that silver skin off. So the better you are at getting the tallow, so any white fat membrane off the deer, and the silver skin away, that's gonna help address the majority of all the gaminess. Huh. You mentioned marinating your meat. Now that helps, but that only helps with the bigger meats, you know, like a roast or a backstrap or something like that. And I know a lot of people don't like the richness of it. Like you mentioned when we put this in here, it is super red, right? It is the leanest red meat in North America around. Yeah. And so a lot of people want to cut that richness out, which some people love. I mean, people that eat liver and onions, they go for it. That's what they want, that really rich, irony taste. But if you want to take care of that or soften that, I know a lot of people will soak those bigger meats in buttermilk.
Buttermilk.
Yeah, prior to cooking it.
Okay, but it's not marinating in a buttermilk then.
You're soaking it. You're just soaking it in a buttermilk, and it takes a little bit of that ironness
pulls it out
away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't done that. We actually like that kind of richness taste to it, but that helps. But I think the biggest thing as far as getting the gaminess out is how well the deer is cared for, how it's processed, and getting as much of that tallow and silver skin removed before cooking.
And that's done at a place like Chester's, like where you
Chester's,
get it
Chester's does a wonderful job at doing that. I have processed a few deer myself too, and I think that's something that I make sure to try to watch out for.
Okay, good to know. Well, there you have it. So let's give it a shot. I put some cheese on yours. I hope you don't mind.
Yeah.
And like I said, there's obviously lots of other options that you could garnish your chili with. We have some good bread. I know a lot of people like to do cornbread. Are you a cornbread guy?
Yeah, but it depends. Are we talking northern cornbread or southern cornbread?
Oh gosh, what's the difference?
Well,
I feel like I should know the difference.
Yeah, the northern one is I think it's basically on the sweetness level. So one of the areas puts like cream corn in there and a little bit more sugar. Whereas down south they'll go ahead and they'll put like jalapenos in there, and it's more savory, salty.
Okay, I would be the jalapenos, kind of savory, spicy.
This is good.
You like it?
It's got a lot of flavor to it.
Good, good.
That's good.
That's I'm pleased with that, considering it sounds like you kind of have your way about chili.
Yeah, I think it needs some hot sauce, but I mean, it's good.
All right. Well, wonderful. Well, thank you again to everyone. Thank you to Jared. Thank you to the Hospitality House. Like and subscribe. We're gonna put the recipe in the comment section. So feel free to message if there are any questions. But like Jared said, chili is a pretty a pretty hard one to mess up. You just throw a bunch of things in a pot.
Yeah.
So thank you again, Jared.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.